Are 2021 visa concessions fuel for the next housing boom? Let's have a look. Merry Christmas, everyone, and I hope you're having a good Christmas Eve. If you're working, I hope you have a good day. I thought we'd start the day today by having a look at this article from news.com.au, which is discussing, well, changes to laws, restrictions, and rules next year. So grab your stein of coffee, because, well, there's one regarding visa restrictions or visa concessions, which perhaps, I'm playing devil's advocate here, could it be foreshadowing opening up of that sector to help fuel the housing boom. Now, for those of you that are not aware, Australia's obsessed with property, guys. It's our thing. You know, you got sports, property. Actually, you reckon they'd be on the same page, same level, guys? Yeah, at a barbecue, you could just as likely have a discussion about property and housing as you could about sport. What do you reckon? Let's test it. If you're seeing family over the Christmas holidays, if you're seeing people on New Year's Eve barbecue, because people are going to barbies, let's see. Let us know in the comments what the topics of discussion are. It'll be probably property. It'll be the world going to hell in a handbasket, or it'll be the sports. One of those. So let's have a look at these changes. Many of us will be happy to put 2020 behind us and embrace a fresh new year. But along with New Year's resolutions comes a raft of new rules, regulations, taxes, and some benefits that you need to know about. And here are all the changes coming in 2021. The COVID-19 vaccine rollout. The Australian government is aiming to have as many people vaccinated against COVID-19 as possible in 2021. The first vaccinations will likely be rolled out in Australia in March 2021. Priority groups will get the first available doses, provided they are proven safe and effective. But more people will have access as more doses become available throughout the year. Anti-vaxxers will not be forced to have their vaccine, as Prime Minister Scott Morrison stressed that a mandatory COVID vaccination is not the government's policy and has never been the government's policy. Of course, we would encourage people to take up the opportunity, but they will make their own choices, and we'll be seeking to provide the necessary assurances about the safety of the vaccine, he said. The COVID-19 vaccine may be mandatory for all visitors to Australia, however. Overseas travellers may have to produce a vaccination certificate before boarding their flight to Australia. So it looks like we're going to potentially turn back to, penal colony. But I can appreciate the fact that, well, people are concerned with something that's been developed so quick, even though it's based on existing technology. I can certainly appreciate that. But don't worry, guys, the rest of the world will test it out for us Aussies. So, travel restrictions. While some borders are still firmly closed, domestic and international travel is expected to gradually continue to reopen as the pandemic eases and the vaccine rolls out in 2021. A forced 2-week quarantine is still in place for international travellers coming into Australia, as well as for some states across the country, but this will likely ease as numbers go down. Qantas CEO Alan Joyce has previously said mandatory vaccines will be a necessity for international airline travel. We are looking at changing our terms and conditions to say that for international travellers, that we will ask people to have a vaccination before they get on the aircraft, he said on A Current Affair. So JobKeeper will be axed. Okay, so here we're getting to the meat and potatoes of the economic impacts, guys, because, well, the economy's propped up by a lot of things right now. You've got JobKeeper, and they're businesses that need it, and they're businesses that don't need it at all. What's concerning is that some zombie companies are being propped up with JobKeeper. You'd hate to be getting a mortgage or a loan on JobKeeper expecting your job to be there, just in case. JobKeeper, the economic stimulus to keep workers in jobs amid the coronavirus pandemic, will be cut on the 4th of January 2021 and will be axed completely on March the 28th. From the 4th of January until the 28th of March, the payment will drop from $1,200 to $1,000 for full-time workers and from $750 to $650 per fortnight for part-time employees, after being cut from around $1,500 a fortnight back in September. The JobKeeper stimulus was introduced to provide support for businesses who face financial losses to be able to pay their employees and keep them in a job. Well, okay, that's the official line there. But I would argue that the JobKeeper stimulus was introduced to, well, keep the unemployment rate lower than it actually would. It depends. You know, if you're on JobKeeper but you're not actually doing anything, you're not actually working, are these businesses that you would invest in? This is the problem. Because remember, all of this government stimulus, it isn't just, they didn't have, you know, bags of gold and riches that they can just flog off. It's our future labor. It's work that we all have to do. So you'll get your JobKeeper, but there'll be a few years in your life that you're working where pretty much all the taxes are going to pay JobKeeper. So Job Seeker gone. Job Seeker, which was created to support people who suddenly found themselves out of work due to the pandemic, is no longer available from January 1, 2021. The Job Seeker supplement dropped from $5.50 a fortnight to $2.50 a fortnight from September 25th, 2020, and was extended until December 31st. Those on Job Seeker payments were getting around $1,100 a fortnight, which included the $5.50 coronavirus supplement on top of the $6.12 pre-tax Job Seeker, formerly New Start, payment for singles and $5.10 pre-tax payment for those who are coupled. It effectively doubled fortnightly unemployment payments. Well, yes, and the problem was, in some instances, it was so generous people couldn't be bothered working. And then coupled just with the entire state of the economy, you know, it's tough looking for work. So mutual obligations were pulled back. So we'll have to see. So the Job Maker plan. As part of the 2021 budget, the government announced a new incentive for businesses to employ additional young job seekers called the Job Maker Hiring Credit. The Job Maker Hiring Credit, administered by the ATO, will give $200 a week to employers who hire anyone aged 16 to 30 and $100 a week for any worker aged 30 to 35. So for those, well, most of us viewing this channel are over those ages. And I know this is discriminatory, I understand, but you'd have to hope that you'll, you know, once you hit 36, you're worth that extra $100 a week. I would be shocked if anyone thinks that this will encourage people to employ someone. It may just take the edge off. It may be enough to allow a business to give someone a shot. Eligible employers have had access to Job Maker Hiring Credit for each new job they created over the 12 months from October 7, 2020. Employers will be able to make claims quarterly commencing in February 2021. So we'll have to see what the uptake of that is. We'll have to see if it actually makes an impact, because the biggest risk is, everyone, that you could have scarring. You could have unemployment scarring. So you'll get the young people there, you know, 16 to 30, that are just starting to get, well, 30 ain't that young really, but anyway, 16 to 20, early 20s that are just starting their career may get trapped out of the workforce. That's the biggest risk. Because if 40, 50, 60, you've got less time running down the clock, guys. Or you've got more time also to establish yourself. So you shouldn't be competing with people that have less skills and experience. So immigration concessions. So here we have, this is what I wanted to highlight in this video. Because, well, property is a big part of Australia. And a big part of that demand is driven by international students and immigration, particularly in Sydney and Melbourne. Now, that's pretty much ground to a halt. And one argument I put forward is to help prop up property, they might open the floodgates. What do you reckon? A number of concessions will be available in 2021 for certain visa holders impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. The Department of Home Affairs has indicated... I need to have a shot of coffee with that. The Department of Home Affairs has indicated it will implement a concession for certain family visa applicants who applied for their visas offshore, then came to Australia and are stuck in Australia due to border closures. The COVID-19 concession period commences from February 1, 2020 and is an interim arrangement. Usually such applicants would need to be offshore in order to have their visas granted. However, the concession will now allow affected applicants to have their visas to be granted while they are in Australia. Meanwhile, visa allocations for the Global Talent Visa have been tripled. To assist business sponsors in attracting high-caliber individuals with specialist skills to Australia, with a pathway to Australian permanent residency. Oh, there we go. Wonder why that's happened. We'll see. And they need to prop up housing. We need talent. Talented and skilled people coming to Australia. That's what we need. Those are the immigrants that we need. So I appreciate that. But it's kind of sad that our education system and, well, our economy just isn't complex enough. Who are we kidding? You can get an education here in Australia, but if you can't get a job in your field, you have to go overseas. I know industrial designers who came and studied with me could never get a job in that field here in Australia. It's just, just the way it is. It's easy to run a course on it. Universities can run courses. They bring in the lecturers from overseas, run a course. No market. Hardly any opportunities here in the country. So raise a glass. 2020 was a rough year for hospitality, with closures and restrictions to the number of patrons allowed in bars, restaurants and cafes. The restrictions allowed a relaxation of takeaway booze laws, allowing a multitude of hospitality venues to still operate, while coronavirus restrictions stifled normal trade. However, the laws are likely to tighten again as restrictions loosen. So lump sum tax cuts. We'll all be getting an extra tax boost when we file our tax return in 2021. Early tax cuts were implemented in October 2020 with a tax relief plan announced in the budget. Workers have been receiving half of their early tax cuts in their pay, while the second lot of the tax relief will come mid-year when Aussies do their tax return. The lump sum employees will get in their tax return will be the backdated amount from July 1, 2020, which is about 4 to 5 months worth of tax cash. Fantastic. So the money that you paid, you'll be getting back. So stamp duty cuts. Now, this sounds good, but if they replace it with a land tax, is it really going to be the best thing? It means you're just another bloody tax. I don't. What do you prefer, everyone? I recently, what was it? This one here. I've got a 7-year-old daughter. She wanted, obsessed about The Sims now, discovered it. So I tried to install The Sims 2. It's pretty old. And I couldn't be bothered getting it working. I had to do all, stuff. So I was looking at buying the newer one for her. And I was thinking, okay, I can, I'm sure I can get it somewhere. It's cheap. And I missed it in the Steam sales, guys. She discovered it after the Steam sales. Perfect Christmas present, though. And I was looking at Origin Play or some of these subscription services for computer games. Now, I like a relax and have a rum or a coffee and play a game. And I kind of like strategy games, those type of things. And I'm thinking, okay, I can subscribe to this bloody thing. I'm paying $30 a year for it. And even that's not that much. Or $6 a month. But then it gets another recurring cost that just keeps going. I would rather just put the money on the table and have it done. I'm getting sick of just subscription after subscription after subscription. So I managed to find a discounted version of the game for like $28 on eBay. So I jumped at that rather than getting the subscription because I just don't want to lock myself into another one of these repeating things because they all add up after a while. You think, oh, $6 here, $15 here. Oh, land tax here. It just adds up. It affects your cash flow. What do you think, guys? What would you prefer? I mean, I'd rather they ditch the tax entirely, but they're not going to cut the services to offset that, are they? That's never going to happen. The New South Wales government announced stamp duty in New South Wales could be a thing of the past from mid-2021. The proposed change, announced in the New South Wales budget, would mean stamp duty would be replaced with an annual land tax on new property transactions. There you have it. That's the problem. Home buyers would have a choice between paying a one-off stamp duty bill or an annual property tax. First-time buyers would get an extra incentive with a grant worth up to $25,000 under the proposed overhaul instead of an exemption from stamp duty. The change could kick in from the second half of 2021. Oh, no. You know what they're going to do. People are going to jump at it and use the grant. It'll drive up property. Pensioners to receive $250. A range of welfare recipients, including pensioners and disability carers, received the first of two $250 cash payments in December, while the other half will come through in March 2021. The incentive for the elderly and carers is part of the government's economic support payments. Those eligible for the money include aged and disability pensioners, veterans, people on carers payments, and family tax benefit recipients. Commonwealth Senior Health Card holders and pensioner concession card holders will also be eligible to receive the payment. I mean, it's $250. It's going to help. I'll have to ask my mother. She's a pensioner. I'll have to see what she spends it on. Probably, power bills or water bills or something like that. Energy bills could go up. A number of industry sources are predicting an increase in energy prices from early 2021, since prices have been at their lowest levels in 5 years. Do they feel low, guys? Federal Energy Minister Angus Taylor has said the wholesale electricity prices had significantly decreased over the last 12 months. Really, I haven't noticed that, have you? Meanwhile, the AFR reports that these low prices aren't likely to stay at the record lows. Health insurance changes. Reforms to private health insurance announced in the federal budget include increasing the maximum age of dependent to 31. That's embarrassing. Being a dependent at 31, I guess if you're disabled, wouldn't that be just different? And then you got the disability, NDIS thing. From the 1st of April, has to be a joke. Why do they release anything on the 1st of April? The government, I know why, but, because it's a new quarter, but still. The government will increase the maximum age of dependents under family private health insurance policies from 24 to 31. For dependents with a disability, there will be no age limit. Well, I always thought that. The change is an attempt to make health insurance more accessible and affordable for Australians. So mental health support. The Australian government has made mental health and suicide prevention a national priority, with an unprecedented $5.7 billion to be spent on mental health in 2021. The number of Medicare-funded psychological services doubled in 2020, with 10 to 20 through the Better Access Initiative announced in the 2020 budget. The government also announced subsidised telehealth services, including for mental health services, would be extended until the end of 2021, or March 2021. More funding is also being provided for Lifeline, Headspace, Beyond Blue, and Kids Helpline. So PBS subsidy for cancer drugs. And why are they showing a pregnant person? Oh, wait, down the bottom. If you have ovarian cancer, your medical costs could be set to decrease with the listing of the drug Lynparza on the Pharmaceutical Benefits Scheme. Instead of costing $140,000 per course, patients will now access the medicine at $6.60 per script for concession card holders and around $41 per script for general patients. Now, I'm thinking, if it costs $140,000, how many people are using the drugs? What is the cost in developing it? Damn. Or is that based on the US charges where their whole drug sector is just a nightmare because of government intervention? But anyway, paid parental leave changes. People may have lost their jobs or worked reduced hours due to the coronavirus pandemic, so may not meet the requirements of the government paid parental leave payment. The government has relaxed the rules a little, so they are still covered. Normally, parents must have worked 10 of the previous 13 months before they gave birth or adopted a child to be eligible to receive the payment. This changed to allow parents who gave birth or adopted a child between March 22, 2020 and March 31, 2021 to still qualify for the payment if they've worked in 10 of the last 20 months. Okay, that seems reasonable considering all the changes that were happening. But I'd still rather pay less taxes and not need this type of stuff. That's the type of thing. Everything here that they're given is, they've already taken tax out of you anyway, so you're just getting your own money back. But you feel good about it. That's government. It's a brilliant scheme they've got going. New road rules. A new national road safety strategy is being rolled out for the decade from 2021 to 2030. Expected to be finalized and approved by early 21. As part of the Road Safety Plan 2021, penalties will be strengthened to further deter reckless and hazardous driving. We'll have to see. So here we have all the changes that are coming through. But, the one that concerns me the most, well, the two, is getting rid of stamp duty and bribing people to have another recurring tax. First home buyers, fantastic. And tripling the number of, global talent visa tripled to bring in more applicants or high caliber individuals with specialist skills as a pathway to Australian permanent residence. Now, if they're bringing them over, it has to be businesses pulling these people over. You don't want this going towards universities, because if universities tries to sucker more people over into this country and get them to pay for these high-end qualifications, where there's no actual demand for it in this country and the poor people have spent a fortune coming over here, I think that's terrible. So at least they've found a way to do it, tying it to business, which is good. But it's kind of sad that we don't have the caliber of people here in our country. And perhaps it's just more fuel for that property bonfire. As always, guys, let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. Please like, share, subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and want to support the content I create here, there are a few ways you can. You can join us on YouTube or Patreon, support us using our affiliate links at Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve or AussieBroadband. You can buy a merch from HeiseSays, use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or support us via PayPal. Merry Christmas, everyone, and I will see you all next time. Bye for now.